Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, summa salatu wassalam ala Rasulul Karim wa ala alihi wa sahabihi ajmahin. Dear students, welcome to another Qira'ah learning session. In this session, we are going to be exploring a new concept in our learning. Now that we have completed all our sukun, we are going to start a new lesson which is going to be based on some of the concepts that we will be learning or we are going to be reading about in future classes, and this is the concept of TANWEEN. TANWEEN means double vowel, and I tell you this, you will really enjoy the lesson on TANWEEN because even reading about TANWEEN and reading letters or words that has TANWEEN sounds very, very interesting to read. Now, what are we going to be learning in this concept? We are going to start with learning TANWEEN of the Fataha, the double vowels, the Fataha double vowels. Now, before we go into learning about what TANWEEN is, we need to go back a little and recall some of the lessons that we have learned in the previous classes. Now, if you are with us, you will remember that in our previous classes, we have learned about the short vowels, the harokat. So the short vowels, they are called the harokat in Arabic, and then we have the three types of short vowels: the Fataha short vowels, the Kesra short vowels, and the Doma short vowels. Now, these vowels are the one we use for producing sound. Take, for example, what do I mean? These are the letters, and we call them the consonants. Now, if you want to produce a sound with this, then we have Fatia short vowels on it, then become Ba. And then when you have Kesra short vowels on it, become B. And then when you have Doma short vowels on it, become Bu. So Bu, Ba, Bi. Now, for this sound, it makes it easy for you to be able to pronounce or produce a word using each of the sound. Now, these are some of the things we have learned, and then we have read some lessons or some passages about how to use the short vowels. Several examples, and this particular one is one of those things we have learned about short vowels. And also, we have also learned their corresponding long vowels that stretch their sound. Now, each of these short vowels has a sign which it's used for stretching the sign, and I've explained then during that time, remember, that there is a need for you to take note of the length of sound you are producing whenever you are reading Arabic words, because the length of sound will change the meaning of a particular word you are calling, and I've given several examples on that. Now we have also learned the signs or symbols for stretching each of the short vowels we have learned, and we have alif that we use for stretching a letter that has a fatia sound, and we have waw for stretching a letter that has a domo sound, and then we have yaw for stretching a letter that has a kesro sign. Now these are the letters, and then these are some of the long vowels that we use for stretching them. Now we have the ba fatia, ba, and if you want to stretch it, you use alif, it become ba. We have ba kesro, b, and if you want to stretch it, you use ya, it become b. We have ba domo. If you want to stretch it, you use domo. Wow, it's become boo. And then also don't forget that this letter will only stretch them once they come after their corresponding short vowels. What do I mean by this? If let's assume you have ba kesro and then you have alif after it, then you know that this alif is not going to be stretching the ba. It's not possible because it is yaw that will stretch it. Now take for example, you have ba and then you have domo and the ba has fatha, then regardless of what this waw has, either it has a sukun or not, it's not going to be stretching this ba because it only stretch a letter that has dhamma. Now similarly, once those letters has their own haroka, has their own short vowels form, then they are not going to be stretching them. Take for example, yaw as fatia and ba as kesro. No, now this time around, yaw is not stretching kesro because it has its own vowel. Now, don't forget that it's very important you take note of this particular lesson as well. So these are some of the things we have learned in the past, the short vowels and also the corresponding long vowels that stretches each of the short vowels. And then we have recalled that we learned some of the principles that relates with short vowels, the sign when it's being stretched and when we are not meant to stretch them, the alif, the ya, and then the wa. Now, we have also read some certain lessons that relate to the short vowels, which assist us to be able to master the short vowels very well. Now we are going to start a new concept, which is the concept of the long vowels. The concept of the double vowel rather. Now we have 3 vowels in Arabic lesson. The first one is the short vowels, and then the second one is we have the short vowels. So the short vowels, they are called the harokat, and then we also have the long vowels. So the long vowels, so they are the mudud, the muddies, and then we now have the double vowels. Now the vowels now, they are called the tanween. Take note of that. Double vowels. The short vowels, they are the harokat. The long vowels, they are the mudud, and then the double vowels, they are the tanween. Now let's now start. What is the tanween all about? What is the concept of tanween? What are double vowels all about? Now the double vowels, a double fatiha looks like this. Is what they look like. So a double fatiha looks like a fatiha on top of each other. A double kesra looks like two kesra on top of each other, and a double doma looks like two domas beside each other, or it has a quabud after it. Now I'm going to show you this in a moment. Now this is what a double fatiha looks like. You write double fatiha, two fatiha on top of each other. A double kesra has two kesra on top of each other, and also a double vowel is either it has a double doma. It's either it has two doma written on top of each other, or something like a square good shape. You can see the shape of the, so it's either it's written like this, or it's being written like this. Mostly when we are writing a regular text, we use this, and in Quran you mostly come across the double vowels written on top of each other. Now, so these vowels, they are called the tanween. So we have the tanween, the fatiha tanween, the kesra tanween, and doma tanween. The fatiha tanween is called fatihatan, the kesra tanween is called kesratan, and the doma tanween is called domatan. So we have the fatiha tanween, fatihatan, the kesra tanween, kesratan, and doma tanween, domatan. Now, how did they sound like? Now, if a letter has a tanween, you pronounce the single vowel and follow it with an end sound. You follow it with an end sound. Now, what does this mean? Now, look at this. Now, we have bun. It's like having a nun that has a sukun after it. So, a nun that has a sukun after it. Ba domotain bun, bun, ba domo bunuskun bun is also the same as ba domotain bun. Ba alif, ba fatia, ba nuskun ban. It's also the same as ba fatiatain ban. Ba kesro, then nuskun bin, then it's also the same thing as ba kesrotain bin. Now this is domo and this is the tanween. Fatia, double fatia, then kesro, then it is double, is corresponding double vowels. Now these are how they are pronounced. So now some of the things you need to know about tanween before we go into learning some certain examples about them is that you will never see a tanween in the beginning or middle of a word. Tanween doesn't come in the beginning, it doesn't come in the middle. So tanweens only come at the end of a word. So it only comes at the end of the word. Now another thing is that the Fatiha tanween always has a silent alif. A silent alif. This alif, it is not muddy. Don't try to pronounce it as a muddy. It's a silent alif. So except if it is ta or amza. So that's the only exception, that this silent alif would not accompany the Fatiha. Okay, so we have bun, ban, bin. So bun, ban, bin. So these are the things, some of the things you need to know about the tanween. Now, these are the tanween symbols: fatihatan, kesrotan, dumotan. Fatihatan, kesrotan, and dumotan. Also, fatihatan, Muhammadan. You can see it at the end. Dumotan, Muhammadun. Kesrotan, Muhammadin. Muhammadan, dan, dun, din, dan, dun, din, dun, dan, din. Isn't that interesting? I told you are going to really enjoy this lesson. Okay, so this is another example. Beitan, beitun, beitin, Comoron, Comoron, Comorin. So ban, bun, bin, run, run, rin, bam, boom, bin, run, run, rin. So Tanween is a very interesting lesson, and then we're definitely going to enjoy every single lessons we are going to be learning in this concept. Now look at this now. Ba fatia, ba nuskum ban, ba fatatan ban, ban jim fatia, nun sukun jan, jim fatatan jan, da fatia nun sukun dan, da fatatan dan, tan ta fatatan tan, sa fatatan san, kho fatatan khon, goin fatatan gon, yaw fatatan yan, sod fatatan son, to fatatan ton, sin fatatan san, kaf fatatan kam, waw fatatan wam. Now you see this type of tanween, we will come across this in the Quran, and it indicates that before it there is a ba that comes after it. Now you pronounce it whenever you see this, it's going to sound like a meme sound. Kam, wam, kam, wam. Now instead of you having a meme that has sukun, a nun that has sukun, like in this case of ban, then in this case of kaf, it is kaf then mim sukun. You assume it is kaf fatia and mim sukun. Kam, waw fatia and mim sukun. Wam. So instead of the nun sound, you just replace the nun with mim, because nun and mim, they come from the same makhraj. That's why there are similarities. So we are going to be reading several examples under these sukuns. Now just few lines here. Khito an, wato an, qoriban, qanitan, ahadan, harojan, kadehan, shuyukhon, abadan, athathan, juruzan, shamsan, ma'ashan, kososon, arodon. Now some other lessons or passages, beautiful interesting passages that we are going to read under this. So see you in the next session, and where we are going to be introducing learning or reading more on this tanween.